Hey guys, Eddie from Food for Thought. This is a quick video to do almost the last of the start to finish. I'm actually going to weigh the babies now, and well, they're not babies anymore, they're 11 weeks old. So I'm going to weigh them, number them, and I'll show you what to do with them. Okay, be right back. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm actually going to be weighing these guys. I'm just spinning this around. Grace's babes, Maggie's babes. These are the two sets that we've been following during the start to finish. They're 9 at 11 weeks. And then at this point, I now need to decide what I'm going to do with them. A lot of the times you just grow them out, put them in the freezer, you know, harvest them and then have them for your family. But obviously there's other things you can do. Decide on what your breeding stock is. If there's any of your rabbits that are getting old, maybe not breeding, having trouble breeding. Obviously I have one, it's Bess. She's the one that had the 18 kits, previous video. She came pregnant that way. So once she had actually given birth to those 18, she hasn't actually taken since. I've bred her twice, she hasn't taken. I'm going to be breeding her a third time. If she doesn't take again, I'll be looking at rehoming her. You know, take her to an animal auction, to a farm, whatever. So if I'm not able to breed from her, I'm not going to have her in my stock. So I'm going to have to replace her. So now I've got to think, who's the best choice? So that's one of the things I've got to look at. I'm also putting two sets of rabbits up for sale as breeding trios. A male from one. So for instance, I'll have a male from Grace and two does. So a buck from Grace and two does from Maggie, and vice versa. A buck from Maggie and two does from Grace. That way, obviously, the families, you can line breed, but I'm not going to get into that. A lot of people don't like it. It's the best way to actually produce a good stock, line breeding, but it's generally mother to son, father to daughter, that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is have a choice on that. So in that case, I have to document those. The third point on this was the experiment that I'm doing because of a conversation with Uncle Buck. So Buck Run 11, go to his channel. That he weans at 7 weeks rather than weaning at 6, because I was weaning at 6 weeks. So I had a bit of an experiment here that I wanted to see if weaning from a 6-week harvest would be any different to the 7. See if there was any growing difference. So that's the third point. So let me start getting them out. I'm going to weigh them, going to sex them, and then obviously I'm going to document on my paperwork. So give me a second, I'll get them out. Okay, so just before I actually start weighing, I'm going to show you what I'm going to be using. This is I got this from China, actually. I bought this in China. It's a baby weighing scale. So it gives me a really good base to put the rabbit in. I know I've seen people using all sorts of other methods, but this is one I like. So I've got a baby weighing scale. My notebook, which is, I've got it written 1 to 8 on both sides. Maggie, Grace. Written at the top that Maggie's was a 7-week weaning and Grace was a 6 weeks, so I can actually have a visual on what it is, and two different types of markers. Sometimes, depending on how, sometimes I like using the smaller marker, but it's a really very fine tip. And then the other one is obviously just a normal marking pen, because all you got to do is mark the ear with a permanent pen. It will only last a day or so, if that, because they'll all clean each other like mad. So this is the equipment I'm going to use. Nothing spectacular, nothing most scientific. Okay. Okay, so this is the first one. I'm going to label him number 1. This is from Grace. So I'm going to label him number 1. I'm just going to set the scales. And he is 4.9 pounds. So Grace number 1, 4.9, yeah, 4.91, 4.92. And we just have to check sex. So let's tip them upside down and check sex. And it's a male. So get that down M. And then we'll just put them back down again. Get the marker out. Doesn't matter which ear. We're not tattooing, we're just going to write them down. So we'll just get a nice big one. So obviously, when we're gonna keep the rabbits for breeding, in my view, it's the biggest rabbits that you're gonna keep, because the biggest rabbits are the ones who are the strongest to get to the food, whatever. So I like to keep the biggest rabbits. I've always had a success with these guys, keeping the big ones. Maggie and Grace were my first generation that I kept, and they're magnificent rabbits. So hopefully these wee guys, who are their sons and daughters, will be exactly the same. This one feels heavier, so let's get this started. And it's a lot longer too. Yeah, 5.8. Okay, so I'm going to mark number 2. These will actually, as I said, be washed off within the next couple of days. But at least, because I've got a separate cage down there, I'm going to be moving 3 of the rabbits out, so I know which ones I'm selling. So I'm going to continue with this. I'll come back with the results of Grace's babes, and then move on to Maggie's. Okay, be back in a minute. Okay, so here are the results. To me, that's quite definitive. Grace's 6-week-old weanings and Maggie's 7-year-old weanings are considerably different in sizes. I'm actually quite shocked at that. Apart from the 2 anomalies of the 5 and 5.1 smaller rabbits, which you will get, they're the last ones to the food, they don't fight as much. Apart from that, they're all well over 6. Whereas Grace's are on average, so the average, as he said, 5.49, so 5.5 pounds and 6.1. So there is quite a difference in size for just that 1 week left with Mom. And I didn't honestly think that Mom was going to be winning that much. So, So one tip I'm going to give you, and this would have saved me quite a few minutes just now, 10 minutes. Remember if you've got a travel crate like these, this is a specific crate for carrying animals. If you've got one, use it, take the animal out, mark it, and then transfer it back into here. I wasn't thinking when I was using this, when I was doing these guys, I would mark them, put them back, do the thing, grab the next one. But by the time you've done like 5 and 6, well, you can even see where there's a smudge mark on the pad that I grabbed out the same rabbit twice. And it wasn't that point, and I'd have to go around, looking at each rabbit, seeing if I've got, marked your ear rather than they say, what am I doing? Get my crate out, take the rabbit out, weigh it, mark the ear, sex it, weight it, put it into here. So it's not going back into this, it's going back into here. So now I've got to take the rabbits out and then move them over. So that's a simple, it was an interesting little experiment. I'm actually really shocked at the difference. So, you know, thanks for Uncle Buck to even just mention it as in a comment that that's what he does. And I didn't know if there was going to be much. Now, obviously there are going to be other, you know, other different things that might go along with it. You know, mother, father, who the buck was, who the, you know, obviously, you know, I've got 2 bucks. So one buck was from one, and one breed was from one, and litter was from one litter was from another buck. So could it have been because of the genetics of the buck rather than being left in 7 weeks? That might be something that I might look at again. So we'll see. I'm actually gonna, yeah, I'll actually go through my records and actually see who were the fathers for these 2, and see, because I have, that's Maggie is going on Rockstar. Oh, actually Rockstar for both of these girls. So the Rockstar is going to be the father for both of these litters next time. So that's another thought process of the genetics rather than, you know, taking them out at 7 weeks. But we never know. So anyway, this is Eddie. Finished this experiment. Obviously the next thing is just to decide which ones are which. I've already marked them down for what litters I'm going to sell. I've already taken out my doe. She's already down there. That's the doe that I wanted. She was calm. She was easy to handle. I have got obviously a couple choices on these guys. You'll see one was like 6.2, 6.4 or whatever, but the more calmer one is the one I chose for the litters I'm going to sell, because if you've got a hyper rabbit, you might have hyper kits. So if you want, if you're going to breed down, that might go. But the calmer rabbits, they're the ones you're going to keep. They're always. So it's not all just down to weight; it's temperament as well. So before anybody gets on me, but you know, temperament is definitely a big thing. Plus the big, you know, bigger rabbit. So a big calm rabbit, definitely top on the checklist. So let's get these guys swapped over, and I'll talk to you another day. This is Eddie. Thanks very much for joining Food for Thought. You guys rock. You guys are really surprised, you know, out of this world with your comments. If you want anything, if you want to know anything, let me do a video. Get Gordon to do a video. You know, Gordon's awesome at doing his engineering. He'll make almost anything. You know, you give him a thought, give him an idea, and he'll sit down and think about it until he figure it out. And especially on the cheap, which is what Gordon's skills is. So not saying that Gordon's cheap. He's not, but why pay a stupid amount of money for something when you can actually fabricate it yourself? I can't do it, so that's why I have a twin brother who can. Talk to you later. Bye now.